Hi, I want to talk to you about this new book, The 10 Commandments, which has just been released by First Press. So excited about what is in this volume. It's a great opportunity to look at something that you've probably known about your entire life, the 10 Commandments. Such a regular part of our childhood, growing up in the church in particular, but just in America, to understand that God gave these 10 decrees. But what do they mean for us today? And this book does a tremendous job of being able to communicate the relevance of the 10 Commandments for today. In particular, how do these 10 Commandments lead us to our need for and then reception of the Savior, Jesus Christ, and how he perfectly fulfills them and then gives us his reward and forgiveness for how we failed. If you would like to purchase this book or you wanted a copy of this book, go to fbcjacks.com/10 Commandments. You will enjoy this short, simple book for regular people to understand the deep meanings of the 10 Commandments.
I want to welcome you to the After Sunday Show. My name's Heath Lambert. I'm the senior pastor here at First Baptist Church, and you are joining me for a conversation. You know as much about what is getting ready to happen as I do, because the hosts on the
maybe
After
more.
Sunday Show, actually, by the time they promote this on social media, they will know more than I know right now. So at least you get headings on the screen. I don't know what you guys are going to do. Sometimes I get advised about the kinds of things that are possible, but then you also change your minds, and we'll see what happens. So I don't know, but we'll find out together, because you guys are the hosts, and we talk about whatever you want on the After Sunday Show, the podcast whose title you cannot abbreviate.
You can if you read the KJV.
The main demonstration of power that you exercise is who gets to go first.
That is true. That is true. It's not as
you
though
wield that
I have
influence.
but I'm sort of like a king in a constitutional monarchy, you know. like there's a few little provisional things I can do, but it's mostly ceremonial.
It's mostly ceremonial.
Yeah, and I'm at the victim of
And we
other
have
people.
instructed you before on the order that
Oh,
we
you
want
have
to go
instructed?
in.
Yes, that has happened before. That takes Richard, though, to get. Here's what we want you to do. Okay. So
Sean said he'd like to be the prime minister.
yeah, that's where the real power is. That's right. So I'll just be victims of you with the real control. You are Spencer Harmon. You're
correct.
our pastor of our Nocatee campus. You, Scott Cannell, are the pastor of worship and music here at First Baptist. And Sean Perrone is the associate pastor here at First Baptist.
Sean, what's your pen today? You always have a fun pen.
Yes, this is from the Fellowship of the Ring. These are the kings of Gondor. It's the scene where they are on the boats and they.
It's a really cool scene.
Yeah. Thank you.
Your interest in Lord of the Rings has become cultish since post-cancer.
Are you in or out?
This is exactly right.
He's not arguing. He just wants to know which side are you on.
I think I'm in. I think.
You're in.
Okay.
Have you read the books?
I have not read all of them. No.
Have you seen the movies?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I actually, the last time I watched Lord of the Rings, I had a really bad case of the flu, and I watched all of them in one day. So I was like drifting in and out of like consciousness
extended
with a
versions?
fever. No, not the extended versions.
Oh, okay.
But
The
it
director's
it was like I started at like 10 a.m. and it was like 10 p.m. when I was done.
That's impressive.
It was really fun. I mean, it was a feverish movie watching session, so I didn't catch all of it.
Spencer is correct. Those of us who know you know that you've been radicalized
Yes.
on the Lord of the Rings post cancer treatment.
That's true.
Do you know, it's interesting because readers sometimes have a different view on the Lord of the Rings, and you can have, like, it's a reader's job to like the book more than the movie. But there are some even readers who we love and respect around here who they love the movie more than the books. Do you love the book or the movies more?
I love the book more. The books more. I do love the movies. So
Okay.
I think they could have done a few things in the movies that would have made them exceptional. They did not. But I do think they're really, really good. So
Well,
I'm
and just
a fan.
imagine the nerve of making those movies without consulting you.
I
on it.
can't believe it.
Really unbelievable.
I still write them. I don't know why they don't respond to me.
In spite of the cease and desist order.
yeah, I got this lovely
don't
letter
care
from
about
your
your
lawyer.
lawyers.
Yeah.
And look at this. Heath just did a little mini hosting session
Oh, I did. Oh, I've
on the
colored
After
outside.
Sunshine.
Look at that.
After
I've-
Sunshine.
I've-
After
We can talk
Sunshine.
more about the Lord of the Rings.
I've exerted. Listen,
After Sunshine show.
I'm not in control. I am merely, what did we say? I'm the moderator or something like that.
I loved it. You did a great job.
Benevolent moderator.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well,
Great
I'm
job.
going to now go back to my seat of non-power, and I tell you what if we toss it to you, Sean, and you go first?
Well, okay, that's fine. That's good. I like it.
Do you not want to go first?
No, mine's a bit of a Debbie Downer, but
Well, that way we'll go out on a high note.
Okay.
Who has the most positive one, do you think?
Probably Scott.
Okay, all right. So you go first, then we'll have Spencer just drag us through the middle, and then
I'll be the boring segment.
and then Scott can be our explosive end.
okay. So the thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is death. Okay, so death.
I don't know if you can bring up the
Here we
topic
are.
of death while you're smiling that big.
Well,
I want to talk to you about death. Okay.
I told you it was going to be a Debbie Downer, so I'm trying to.
That was a really
Lead
quick
in.
transition, huh?
I want to talk to you guys about death.
Okay.
All right, so 2 ways to get at it. So one,
Get it, death.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
no, it's
Wow,
only
this is gonna be
because there's really only one way to die.
We're struggling.
Wow, you're going to add something to my knowledge here.
struggling.
It's gonna be a long show.
I hope
is
there are
the
people.
director's cut.
I hope people are still with us right now.
Yeah. They're like, this isn't my week.
Yes, they're like skip.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've had key godly men who have passed away recently. So you think of John MacArthur, you think of James Dobson, you think of Charlie Kirk, you think of Voddie Baucham.
Voddie Baucham just
most
passed away.
most recent, and it feels heavy for a lot of folks. And then also, I'm having conversations in our congregation of people who are facing real sickness, facing death in their own way. Personally, they're not even really concerned about the people who are dying that I just mentioned because they got their own problems. So I guess 2 questions. One is, how should we prepare as Christians for death ourselves? And then what should we think about the recent death that's been in the headlines, especially in the Christian world that we've been talking about?
What should we think about the death?
Like the death of those men, those
Oh,
godly
okay,
men that
okay.
we respect and who are all very different, but we would say have been faithful convictionally to the Bible.
As if the Lord is saying something and taking all these men home?
Yeah,
Or-
like
Okay.
what's happening? Is this just normal? Should we not be shocked, or how should we process it? What do you think, Scott?
I don't have any introspection into what the Lord is doing when he brings someone home. I think there is a sense, I remember when Billy Graham died, there's a long, he lived so much longer than anyone expected he would. I just thought something will have changed in the world of spirituality and Christianity when Billy Graham dies, because he just seemed to be a line of demarcation. And it happened, and it was a little startling that we were living in a world that Billy Graham wasn't living in any longer. But I didn't recall it feeling like there was a difference, like somehow the culture had shifted. He's the most prominent figure I can think of in my lifetime that when he passed, I thought there would be something different afterwards. But I do think you do get down the road and you look back and realize things have changed. I don't know when they changed, and I don't know how death fits in to the change. So I don't have much.
No,
to
I
contribute
agree.
to the-
It feels different. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
One of the things I've been thinking about when Voddie Baucham passed, when was that? Just a couple of days ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Voddie Baucham?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Voddie Baucham passed away, John MacArthur passed away, and then there's been, if you zoom out a little bit further, you've got guys like R.C. Sproul that have passed away, people that the Lord used in a really powerful way to influence a lot of different people in the Christian church and to help everybody be more faithful. One of my reflections, so personally, is there's just this mantle moment that I think we're in. I think that happens generationally in the church. So there's faithful people that God has used to lead and to bring change and to help the church be more faithful. And it seems like the Lord is just taking a bunch of those people home right now. And one of the things I'm thinking about is who's the next people to take up the mantle, who will be the eager recipients of influence and calling the larger church to greater faithfulness. I don't think any of these men particularly sought out that sort of influence. I think that's something that the Lord has to do, but I think they stewarded the influence well, and they recognized it when they had it, you know? And so we all don't, it's not, people don't have a good taste in their mouth when you feel like someone's like vying to be, you know, the person that's leading like the evangelical movement.
Yeah, we actually brought you here to talk about that.
So let the record show I'm not seeking it out. But I've been thinking, okay, so I'm in my mid-30s. I don't know how much life I'm going to get to live, that the Lord decides that. But I've been thinking, am I using the influence that God has given me to take that mantle up in my own small way? And so I think that's something that I've been thinking about, and I've been challenging other people to think about too that are in similar seasons of life, is maybe the Lord's not going to raise up just one or two people. Maybe he's going to raise up a whole host of leaders that are part of the next generation. But one of our reflections needs to be not how do I become Vodi Bakum, how do I become Charlie Kirk, how do I become John MacArthur, but what did the Lord teach through their life? You know, though they are dead, they still speak. And so what did the Lord teach through their life that now I need to take into my life and be more faithful? I've been thinking about preparing for death just because there's a couple of people in our church right now at the Nocatee campus who are getting close to, I think, meeting the Lord. I was just with a woman last week who is pretty close to death, I think, and was spending some time with her and her husband. And so I was thinking about this, you know, you don't, no one tells you, you know, hey, at Thursday at 4, you're going to be talking to this person who's getting close. You just have to be ready to talk about that as a pastor with people. And that's, I think, one of the most holy ground moments that you get into with people as a pastor, is to walk next to the deathbed, and you have to say something or not say anything, but be there. And so I think of a couple of different things. The most important thing when I'm thinking about helping someone prepare to die, I'm thinking about myself, is do they know Jesus? I don't ever want to take that for granted. Is if they're able to communicate with me, or if they just get the diagnosis. It's one of the regular questions I ask people is, when you think about death, that's a scary thing to think about. What do you think about next that brings you comfort? And I'm just listening. What is your hope and your life and in your death? And if it's anything other than Christ, I want to help people to see that the only thing that's going to hold up on their deathbed is Christ. I'll just tell a quick story. Well, it's actually multiple stories. One of the moments when I've seen the power of the gospel and the truth of the gospel most clearly is at the deathbed of saints. I think it's one of the most clear examples of how the gospel hope is real. When I watch people, I think of a woman several years ago who had pancreatic cancer, and I would go and visit her regularly and just talk with her, and we'd read the Bible together and we'd pray. And she just had a living hope. Even when her body was failing, her inner person was being renewed day by day. I think the power of the gospel is demonstrated most clearly in death. I tell our people all the time, like, whatever you're living for, put it through the death test. Like, can it help you on the day of your death? So that's one. The other thing I would say to people is, you know, people who are dying, who are nearing death, is what conversations do you want to have with friends and family? If you know that you're nearing death, are there kids that you need to talk to one more time and say, I want to encourage you to trust in Jesus. I want to encourage you with what's most important. I think there's practical things too. You know, if you're getting older and you haven't like made arrangements and plans for what's going to happen after you die, I think that's really important. I'll ask people that sometimes as a pastor when they're getting older or they're sick, is, hey, have you got everything worked out? You got all your plans? This can lead to a lot of conflict after you're gone, and you can save your family a lot of pain if you make some of these decisions now. And so there's a lot of different angles to the death question, but those are just some of my reflections and how I think about preparing for it. And I've seen a lot of people prepare really well for death, and that's really inspired me to, last story and then I'll be done. One of our really good friends, John Powell, passed away really tragically several years ago, and he mentored several of us that are actually on staff here, was a pastor in Texas. And you remember after he died, all these stories came out. He's like in his mid-30s. He's like my age when he died. and he had prepared for his death. He had written letters to his wife. He'd written letters to his kids. He'd written letters to his best friends. He had detailed instructions on what to do with everything in his home. He had his whole funeral planned out. It was incredible that he had thought through so much of the leadership of his home even after the Lord took him home. And so that was really inspiring to me. And it inspired me even when I remember being on the plane on my way home from the funeral, starting to make notes of, man, I want to lead my family if the Lord were to take me home sooner than I think. Yeah.
Good. Keith?
It's a big question. I agree. I think when you are a Christian, you have to say what Spencer said is the most important thing is where are we? We should just even make it personal. Where are we with Jesus? We think as ministers, where are you? But honestly, anybody listening to this, where are we? Where are we? Do we know that Jesus is the only way? And we just need to live in that. But apart from that, very specific in that primary concern, maybe I'd say two things. One, two very different things. So in Genesis chapter 2, you get the warning, don't eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, because in the day that you eat of it, you shall surely die. And that promise, which promise came true just a chapter later and that we're living in now, that we're living in the reality of that now, there are two sort of equal and opposite realities that grow out of that. One is a shocking reality that God made us as his creation to live forever. We are eternal beings. We are supposed to never die. And so sin creates this shocking reality where there could be a separation of your body from your soul. That's what death is. Your body and your soul separate, and the soul continues and the body returns to the dust. That's horrifying. That's not the way it's supposed to be. And so we live in that shocking reality where there is pain, and some of us are nervous about our own death, or we're nervous about the death of somebody we love, or we grieve and are shocked when we hear about someone's death. And that reality, that shock, that horror, that pain traces back to God's warning in Genesis chapter 2. But there's also another reality, and that is there's a normalizing reality. So God gave the promise, in the day that you eat of this, you will surely die. And so now we live in the horrifying reality, but we also live in the certain reality. And so it allows us to, we say things like death is a part of life. That's not the way it's supposed to be, but in a world of sin, you get separation between what is and what ought to be. And so we live in a reality where we can expect this, we should expect this, and I think it needs to change the way we talk. I think it needs to change the way we talk to our friends. I think I force these conversations with my family. I force conversations where, hey, I want to talk about, it's not if I die. People say, well, if I die. Oh, hold on a second. You're going to die. And I think what they mean by that is if they die before they are old and full of years and everybody's expecting it. But I force the conversation. Sometimes it's a very sobering conversation about what's going to happen and what's going to take place. Sometimes I'm trying to be a little more lighthearted, honestly, and I'm not saying everybody has to do that, but I've got a few things that I do just to remind everybody that, hey, Dad's not going to be here forever, but it's a way that everybody can kind of laugh or roll their eyes or something, so it's not always some heavy conversation. But I think living in that reality of the horror and the expectation of death is something that we get from the Bible, and we need to figure out how to do it. Other thing I would say is, as we live in that world, we're living in an odd time where everybody's super judgy of other people when they mourn. So we just went through the death of Charlie Kirk, and there was just a lot of judginess from people about, like, well, I don't think Christians should be doing that. Or, you were asking me questions about this on the last episode of the After Sunday Show, the last episode we recorded. I don't know if it's the last one that these folks will have seen. But, you're only doing that because he's a white conservative. And I was shocked by that question. Because what happened to us where we can't just pull a Romans 12 and weep with those who weep? Like, why do we have to weigh in a judgy way?
I told Spencer that his question was really inappropriate.
Oh my goodness gracious.
And so listen, here's the thing. If it is a white conservative, if it's a black liberal, if it's a woman, if it's a man, if it's a Republican, if it's a Democrat, if it's a Christian you agree with, if it's a Christian you disagree with, let's just be sad when somebody dies. Let's let the people who are sad mourn in ways that are appropriate for the season. And honestly, it's just an evidence to me of the coarsening of our culture that everybody has to like weigh in and be nasty. Like, let's just people are sad. You're supposed to be sad when someone dies, and let's let people be sad and try to be a source of comfort. And that goes for your family. That goes for the culture. That goes out in your community. We should just be the people who weep with those who weep. That's good. That's good.
How have you prepared? This is a conversation that's been, I mean, you and me have talked about this a lot when you got diagnosed and what was the plan, and you talked to us about your plan. What have your reflections been?
So too many to share, but I think about it every day. Not in a morbid, macabre way. I think about it as, Lord, teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom.
Yes.
So, over the weekend, is what I'm doing right now, is that the best use of my time? I don't know how much time I have to live. I could be totally cured of my cancer.
Yeah.
I could really not be. I don't know. That's why they give me scans every 3 months. So they're watching me, and so I'm like, okay, is this do I need to be resting right now? Do I need to be productive right now? Do I need to be singing right now? Do I need to be reading my Bible right now? Do I need to be wrestling with my kids right now?
Gregorian chanting.
Gregorian chanting, one of my very favorite hobbies of all time.
Oh, dear Lord, we come to you in the name of Jesus.
I'm doing some with Lord of the Rings now.
Lord, thank you for the gift of Lord of the Rings. Every good and perfect gift is from above.
I'll share my playlist after this for everyone who's interested.
Sean loves Gregorian chant.
Only with candles. But people are going to think I'm so weird by the time this is
In fact, people don't appreciate this, that one of the common debates on the staff that I'm mediating constantly is Sean wants to be the pastor of worship and music, and he wants you to be the associate pastor so he can make Gregorian chant great again.
Oh my goodness!
I made a robe
gracious.
for you. Yeah.
I'm thankful I haven't seen it or heard you sing Gregorian chant.
It's coming for your birthday. What was I saying?
You're talking about numbering
No.
our days.
Yeah. Fantastic. Death. Thank you. So Lord, teach us to number our days that I may gain a heart of wisdom. And then so I'm thinking like, okay, so how can my family be set up for finances if I die? Make sure life insurance is all squared away. So practical things. And then I would say just also, am I discipling my kids in the way that is best? Am I being frivolous? Am I not using my time? So I'm writing them letters. I'm writing them thoughts in a journal, and trying to connect them with other people in the church that can invest in them if I'm not around, and take care of them. So I'm thinking about all those things, and it's a good process.
I don't want to get out of my lane and exert control that is not mine to exert. But I do know that by the time people are going to be listening to you say that, there's going to be people who would love to know how you're doing.
Yeah.
Why don't you say how you're doing?
Yeah, so I'm doing, honestly, wonderful. So I feel better now than I have felt in a year and a half.
You look good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
You're still on chemo and you got all your hair.
I know, it's crazy. It's wild. I know I'm doing good because when I go to check in at the oncologist, the receptionist tells me I'm looking good, and they only would do that if they actually meant it. So I feel good. I'm still weak. So after transplant, I'm going through this physical therapy still, and after transplant, I could only bench press 7 pounds.
Oh.
So I couldn't even get the bar.
And before
it was like-
chemo, it
that's-
was like 9 pounds.
Yeah.
I was just, you beat me, Scott, but I was about to say that's significant because
It
it's
was
3
6.
pounds less than what he used to be able to
Only
do.
6. I've improved 1 after the.
We were all like, who's gonna do it first? Who's gonna make the joke first? Who's gonna do it?
That's terrible.
You set us up.
No, I could do more.
But you probably aren't running as fast as you used to because you're a jogger.
I'm a
You
jogger.
jog.
Yeah, I'm a
My
jogger.
goodness.
I jog. And it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that day. But now I'm up to 30 pounds in
That's
bench
great.
pressing. So that's progress. So I'm thankful. I feel trashy at night often, and sleep's a weird thing. But overall, doing super good. I go for another scan coming up here in the next month. And so I'm very thankful to the Lord. I can walk outside and see a sunset. I think about that a lot, and I'm very, very happy.
Well,
So
that's wonderful.
I have a question that is not related to the subject of death, except that obviously death would be the catalyst for this. But how do you think about? There's probably some prototypical or sort of euphemisms that you could give about. I just cherish every day better now, and I just love my family more. But what is different about the way you think about your life?
yeah. So a lot. A couple things. I think before, so I pray more. That's a big one. I think, okay, not how can I just do better at my job to glorify the Lord. I think that's a good thing to think. But I think, okay, I'm talking with someone now who, well, just last night, I was talking to 4 different church members at different times throughout the evening who have a cancer diagnosis. And I think about what they're going through differently than I did before. And I'm like, okay, this is a suffering saint in our church, and they really need care and comfort. And I thought that before. It's not like I didn't think that, but I feel it. I feel it in a way that I didn't before. With my kids and Jenny, I think, okay, what do they want to do that is important to them that I can invest in? So everything from playing with action figures on the floor to drawing. We do Creature Kids drawing on the weekends, and it's a blast. And then I think, okay, how can I set up patterns in my home, which we were already doing, but how can I set up patterns that they'll remember as these were key things that pointed them to Jesus? And they won't remember what I said when we were at family worship, or they won't remember what I said when we opened up the book of Proverbs in that moment, but they'll know that this was important to their dad, and he really meant it. And he didn't just mean it like, hey, we're going to do this because this is important, but he loved doing it. Like, he was thrilled to do it. So, like, we were joking about Lord of the Rings, but last night, the kids all came up to me, and they were like, Daddy, you haven't, it's been like, it was like a month ago. They're like, you haven't told us what happened to Frodo when he got stung by the spider. And I was like, oh yeah. And I remember I just read that chapter, and I made a really big deal of it, and they were excited about it because I was excited.
Yeah.
And so they were hanging on the edge of their seat. I'm like, well, let me tell you why it's so wonderful and important.
Yeah.
And that's just a small thing, but I've been thinking, how can I have more of those moments? Not just, hey, let me scroll my phone while you're on autopilot watching whatever, or you're on autopilot playing with your stuff. Why don't I get down on the floor and play with you? Why don't I spend time in that way?
Yeah.
So those are small things, but
Good things.
I've,
Those are big things.
I've thought about them a lot.
That's great.
That's great.
Spencer, you're in charge.
Okay. Have you guys ever taken personality tests before?
Sean, talk about all the
So
Personality tests you've taken.
before Sean.
Which number is he?
So okay, so like there's so many different so you've got like the Enneagram, which assigns numbers to you. You've got Myers-Briggs, which assigns letters to you. There's the one with dog breeds that assigns a dog breed to you. So I want to ask a serious question about personality tests.
You're not allowed to frame that it's a serious question.
I do want to ask
Sean,
a
do you
serious.
hear that? It's a serious
I'm gonna.
question.
Well, no, but now I want. But first, I want to just ask, like, what you can't comment on what you think about personality tests, but I want you to tell me what you've learned about yourself in a personality test. Like, what if personality tests told you, whether it's the numbers or the dog breeds or the letters? What? Just quick round table. What do you know about yourself via personality tests that you've taken?
You
Anybody can
start
go.
with Sean.
Any-
Don't start with me. I need a moment.
He needs a minute to think. So, Scott.
I found, yes, I've taken them. It's been several years, but I'd not even known they existed until I got into ministry.
Yeah.
And then wherever I was in ministry, this was an important thing to take the DISC profile where you
Oh,
were
yeah.
assigned a letter. And when I took the assessment, I realized some things that were true about me that the letters just helped me understand better.
Yeah.
It helped me understand why my inclinations were a certain way, and especially when it comes to relating to other people. So I found it to be useful. And I found out I'm a chameleon of sorts, that I tend to shift a bit in my circumstances.
Okay.
So, and that was my natural inclination. So if it's a social engagement, I tend to put on an introvert's hat.
Okay.
If I need to be alone or if I want to be alone, I can be, an extrovert's hat in a social setting. I can be an introvert if I want to go into my room and close the door and be alone.
Okay.
If I know that I'm supposed to be in charge, I can lead,
Yeah.
but I'm not naturally going to assume the role.
Mm-hmm.
And when those things were revealed on this test, I began to look at that and think, you know what? I think these things are tapping into something that is true about my inclinations.
Sure.
And
Okay.
so it helped me. I appreciated the.
Do you know your dog breed?
I do not know my dog breed. I own too many dogs to take an assessment that assigns me a dog breed.
Spencer's a Chihuahua.
What's true about? Do you know anything about? Have you taken any? Have you?
Oh yeah, I've taken plenty.
What have they told you about yourself?
Yeah, so let's see. I've taken a lot. So I know I'm red. I know I'm a 3. Is that what I am? I'm a 3 on Enneagram.
What do those mean?
I'm an achiever.
You're
I'm
an achiever. Okay.
That's what they tell me.
That's in your tombstone.
Achiever. So yeah, I mean, I've taken a bunch. Honestly, I wind up a lot of times. You know, in my adult life, I've had jobs, and you have to take. You have to take the thing. So I've taken things for fun. You know, I've taken things as a joke. So you know, one of the things that's interesting, and we're not giving commentary about what we think about these things. So I'll save that in case you ask it later. Yeah. It would actually be funny. You'd kill Sean if you just made him talk about what he did, but not let him give commentary on it.
It's not possible.
But you're not in charge.
You're not in charge. I'm the host right now.
He's the host.
So you just sit there, Sean.
Yeah, I just became an 8.
No, you were getting a correction. And you are an 8 already.
That's not what the test said.
All right. Anyway, you
We
were
got
saying
better
Heath.
than the test.
You were saying.
So honestly, regardless of whatever it has been, I've actually been surprised at how wow, I really see myself.
Oh yeah,
in
for
that.
sure.
The assistant I had before my current assistant, she got my results before I did on this one thing that we took, as some of the staff took, and I heard her cackling. You remember Amy's big loud laugh when she would get hysterical. And I was like, what is so funny? She's like, I'm reading your results. And she's like, this is you. This is you. So even the people around me were going, this is you. So it's been whatever they are, whether I'm a red or a bulldog or whatever, I don't know, a 1 or a 9 or an N, whatever it is. I've often been impressed by the insight into what people around me think it reveals.
Sean, you're from Slytherin House, right?
It depends. I'm Gryffindor.
Oh,
so
okay.
I've taken the
What
Harry
other
Potter.
personality things do you know about yourself?
But I did kind of want to be in part of Slytherin.
That you did.
But that's a whole other story. So I've done, the Enneagram, unfortunately.
And you said you're an 8. What's that mean?
No, I was a 3 when I took the test.
Okay.
But people around me who...
we are getting objections over here.
I know. I feel I'm not even looking. I'm making no eye contact with the people, and that's actually my point. Is because I would like to say
You're not allowed.
Hold on, no, not yet. I'm gonna let you ask. I'm gonna
fine.
let you ask, but I just want you to tell me your results.
Put the soapbox
Yeah,
back
just
in
put
the
it back.
I also was a red. In fact, I was a 1 point difference, like 0.1 difference from Heath.
I remember this.
So-
You guys were overlapped on this chart.
Yes.
It's because I cheated.
Scott was up here, I was over here, and Sean and Heath were
No,
right
that was
there.
wild.
When I was taking the test, he kept going like this.
And that's the way he takes the personality test. What would he do?
Yes, that's
I
right.
answered all the questions.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that's right.
So
but
you've taken all the big popular ones.
Yeah, I don't know if I've done Myers-Briggs. Their numbers frustrate me, so I probably
because they're letters.
Letters.
Thank you.
Yes.
See, that's how frustrated I am. Maybe that's why I failed that test. They said it broke the test. Actually, they're like, this guy, he's no good. But yeah, there's others. There's sanguine and
That's great.
I'm a
Okay.
yellow-bellied kimono dragon.
So okay.
Mewtwo. I'm Mewtwo. For one
So,
of
let me ask this question. So this is the serious question. So personality tests, they're fun. They do make interesting observations. I've taken a bunch of the ones you guys have said, and I'm like, oh yeah, I see myself there. That actually is interesting. I've not ever worded it like that. That helps me understand, oh, other people see that in me as well. The real thing where this lands down into ministry and relationships is how those things get used in relationships, how they get used in ministry, the emphasis people place upon personality tests. I would just love to hear you guys talk about how important is it to know and understand your own personality, and then how important are those tests in giving you real answers to know and understand your personality in relationships, ministry, all the different contexts of life. What say you?
Yep. You're going to have to wait till the end.
Okay, I'll wait to the end. Yeah. I'll be on the one end of the continuum.
Yeah.
I really appreciated the process of a personality test that made me think about how I am being perceived, and then how I perceive other people. And I think it gave me the opportunity to think about things that people do that are their natural bent in terms of just how they see the world and respond to it, that aren't necessarily sinful, and distinguishing those things. So that when I am observing behavior that I don't like, I have to ask myself, is that sinful behavior, or I just don't like that approach to life or approach to a conversation? So I appreciate the benefit of separating who someone is from what they do, and in particular, the aspect of sin. So there are people who are just more aggressive in their leadership style, and there's a time when that is exactly what is needed. There are people who are more passive and more of a listener, and I think those people are needed in the world. I think there are people who are I've got a grow group right now that's filled with a lot of people who like to talk. So that is both wonderful and challenging at the same time. And so I came in this morning for grow group, and the three who were there early, because they were the ones wanting to talk, were my three biggest talkers. And so I just had the opportunity to say, hey, you all confessed when we first met the first time you like to talk, and you're proving that to be the case. So can you restrain some of that so that some of our members who aren't as assertive could have a chance? And they did try to restrain themselves for the first 3 or 4 minutes of the grow group. And then you could tell that they were just breaking out into cold sweats, and just all these things were coming to mind that had to come out.
do so much.
And there's something about that personality, like in a social setting, that's really delightful to be around.
Yeah.
You have some of this in you, where in a social setting you come alive, and you love to tell stories and to engage people, and it's always a comforting thing to be with you in a social setting, because I know it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's just so I just think those are things that God put in people that a personality test potentially can help us be thankful for, and thank the Lord for how He made people different.
Yeah. That's helpful. What about you?
Who?
The golden retriever in you.
Oh, yeah.
What say you?
Okay.
Your inner
Heath.
author.
Yes. Yeah. Tell me,
This is
Heath, what you
here.
think.
So, okay, let me come at it a different way.
Okay.
So, it's interesting. Personality tests. We're in the midst of a long experience and experiment with them in Western civilization and in the United States in particular. They really trace back to the Industrial Revolution, and really became utilized very heavily in the world wars of the last century. And here's what happened in the Industrial Revolution. You had what they called the titans of industry, who are building these massive factories, and this is the first time in human history where we've needed to employ hundreds and thousands of people. And so these titans of industry needed to know, where do I put you?
Right.
Like, where do I stick you in the factory, in this big organization? And so it's actually just interesting and same thing in world wars. We got tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people being mobilized to be shipped overseas. Where do we put all those people? We can't do eeny, meeny, miny, mo. So we need some information about these people so we can know where to stick them. So it's actually interesting that we love these days to use personality tests for like personal insight into who we are. But it wasn't that sort of personal illumination how it started. It was, I just need some information about you so I can know, are you going to fix trucks? Or are you going to fly planes? Are you going to be on the front line? Or are you going to be in the hospital? Like, that's where it started, and it became more subjective and sort of a personal illumination thing. Since that's the way it is, I think that we should think about it. Like, I think you should think about any personality, and one of the reasons they're not perfect is because there are so many of them. If it was something concrete in a way that the Bible teaching is concrete, there would only be one or maybe two. But because there's so many, everybody has a little bit of a different take, and that's actually kind of the point. I think when you think about using them for personal insight, there's actually nothing particularly good or nothing particularly bad about it. It's like hearing someone's opinion about you. Like, if you gave me your opinion about me, that's interesting and I want to hear that. If Sean gives me his opinion about me, that's interesting and I want to hear it. Whether you get insight into who you are from a test that you take, or whether you get insight into who you are from somebody that you know, what's important is that you hold that up to the light of Scripture, and anywhere you're not like Jesus, you need to change. So what would be a misuse of the findings of a personality test, this sort of in keeping with what Scott said, is if I say, once you start baptizing your sin, well, I'm just a 3. So that's just me, or I'm just red, or I'm just a Doberman, or I'm just Slytherin. Like, well, hold on, that's not what we're doing here. Like, if you tell me some stuff about me, that's fine, but I don't want to lend to you the attribute of omniscience, and I certainly don't want to lend to anybody the ability to make the standard for how I should act. So there's nothing even shocking about hearing from all sorts of people, or even from a test, about what you're like. As long as we hold that up to the standard, which is Scripture, and weigh everything according to that.
Okay, Sean, go ahead.
I have many thoughts, and I will keep them as restrained as possible.
So maybe just to focus,
Yes.
how important is it to know
Not at all.
your own personality,
Yeah.
and then second, like, how should we think about using it in ministry? Just the knowledge of personality.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the benefits of the After Sunday show is you get to enjoy the moment of having everyone's variety of perspective, and I think that's fantastic. So I'm gonna play the.
He said, hoping we will also believe it's fantastic.
Yes.
Isn't it just great how there's all this multiple perspectives and nobody judges anybody for a different point of view? Go.
Thank you.
But there's one view that's correct.
There's yes, and I'm going to embody my Tigger for the Winnie the Pooh. I'm not an Eeyore. I'm not a Winnie Piglet, but I'm going to be Tigger here and bouncy and happy. But I do think that the questions that they ask you can be helpful, can be illuminating. You can see, I think Scott was talking about how you can see, like, oh, this is a tendency that I have. I think all those questions that they lead up to are good and thought-provoking, and I'm for that, not against it. My problems come when a couple of things. I think it imposes a grid that's unbiblical onto the human inner man. So it comes at you with a grid that's already man-created, already baked, and you have to then play by that grid. So every test does this. They formulate a grid. I just was joking about the Winnie the Pooh thing, but you have those categories of those characters in the story, and then you find out which one you are. So that's a grid that's outside the Bible, that the Bible never has for us when we evaluate people or ourselves, and it imposes that grid. So I think it does eisegesis on the human soul. So I think it's reading into us a prepackaged formula that while we answered the questions and it feels like we're giving our information to the machine, it spits back something that is created by man, not a pure lens. So that's one element. The second is many people, and I think this is what you guys were alluding to, it can be pigeonholed by it. So they think, oh, you are a 4. That's why you did that. Well, maybe you were a 4 when you took the test. But maybe if you take the test again, you're a 5. Because that test only evaluates, according to that grid that's already presupposed, it only evaluates you in that moment. It doesn't like the Bible's filled with emotions all over the place of different responses. So different levels of sorrow, different levels of tension, different levels of anger, different levels of all the range of emotions, and you may just get a personality at that moment. And then I think it tends to cement people into who they think they are, when the Bible wants us to think about ourselves as who we are in Christ and who we are becoming like in Christ. So I think a better grid is the fruit of the Spirit, is the grid of wisdom and maturity from the book of Proverbs. Is what Heath was getting at. How are you going to be like Jesus? Well, what personality did Jesus have?
What number was Jesus?
Yeah, what
He's all the numbers.
He's all the numbers. Okay, so this is the problem. So I think our goal.
Our honorary 4th member of the After Sunday
yes,
show,
whose name will not be mentioned.
Sorry, I just said it.
So, it was Jesus all the numbers, or was he one? And our job is to be conformed into the image of Jesus. And this is where I think personality tests really mess up. Is they blur the moral dimension of our traits. So, the grow group analogy, it could be that they just weren't slow to speak and quick to hear. That's a moral category, not just that that's their personality. It could be that their personality is bent towards a sinful way. So it's really not a personality, it's really a moral issue. Or it could be that you're an aggressive leader and you want to do these things all the time. Well, maybe you've not read Ecclesiastes 3 and known that there's a time for everything under heaven. And so it's actually not a personality issue, it's an issue of wisdom and maturity. Or maybe you're sad and you're forlorn. Well, that's not because you're an Eeyore or you're just always trying to be empathetic. Maybe it's that you need more hope infused in your life. Or it could be that you are aggressive and angry and hot-tempered, and or just always kind of on edge, and just like you are a go-getter, you're an extrovert, you type A, you're triple A, and maybe you just don't have self-control, which is a fruit of the Spirit. And so that being said, I think personalities can and should change, and they can and should change according to the fruit of the Spirit and wisdom that's biblical. And we should strive to look like Jesus, who I think displayed all of the various human emotions. And I wouldn't say they were personalities. I would say they're living rightly under God's rule and through His Word. And that's our goal should be, to be transformed by the gospel. So that's a short version, but not only controversial, but I realize complicated.
That's helpful. One of the most helpful things I actually ever heard someone say about personality came from the one who just took a blowtorch to it, Sean. Okay. So
what did I say?
You said to me,
"Please take the Enneagram.
Yes,
I promise you really need it."
Yeah. You said I don't remember, years ago. You said the goal with our personalities is to not, you don't have to like emulate someone else's personality, but take your unique personality and seek to glorify God with it.
Yeah, spiritual gifts. That's another element. So people are gifted in different ways. And I'm not saying, I think Scott's right, there is a diversity of human beings that isn't always moral.
Yeah.
That reflects the image of God, who is one and many. He's triune. But that doesn't mean that we're fixed in those boxes that are imposed upon us.
Yeah, that's right. And so I think it's one of those things where these personality tests, just like any other type of non-scripture knowledge, there can be helpful observations that are made about the way people are and the way people are different, and it helps us recognize certain things that people are different, but it doesn't provide essential knowledge to the human soul, right? So it's not like if personality tests disappeared, we would be in big trouble, or the apostles were deficient because they didn't have access to personality tests when they were writing the New Testament. These are interesting observations that we can make that can map on to, oh yeah, I see that in myself. I can, like, whether it's an Enneagram test or a personality test, or just Heath telling me, Spencer, you can be like this. It's very helpful to know those things and to know how you're impacting others, so you can also just continue to love people and learn about how other people work. But this is helpful. So.
Right. All right. So I was told that you are the one.
You're the fun one.
Joyful.
So,
Yes, mine is going to be a lot less serious. Maybe there's ramifications that are helpful, that are similar to the personality conversation, Spencer. I don't think any of this is about life and death, but I am going to just say that as we record this, we are on the threshold of one of the most glorious months of the year.
True.
Even here in Florida, the month of October. I think especially here in Florida, the month of October is just something very special, and I think it is in a lot of parts of the country. One of the things that makes it really special is that we're on that caravan that leads to the holidays. So we recognize what's coming, and that makes it exciting. The humidity begins to drop here. We begin to feel a little bit of a crispness in the air, although it's a Christmas that's 80 degrees instead of 89. So
Praise the Lord. You too can move to Florida.
That's right. But it is also very, very special because of those of us who are sports fans. October is packed with sporting activity. And I realize, even as I say this, Spencer, we are among the least informed pastors on the staff for sports with Heath and Sean. So this may be two of us talking here and two spectators who...
You didn't have to say that. That was very kind. Very kind.
Oh my goodness gracious.
All the answers cannot be Derek Jeter, Sean, so please.
My favorite. Watch him every Monday.
Oh my goodness gracious.
And just some ground rules here. No one says sports game, so if we can avoid that terminology.
The sports game.
There's not a sports game.
no sports game. Okay.
So in October, we not only have the culmination of the baseball season.
Yes,
which,
wonderful.
Spencer, you and I are big baseball fans, so it's time for the playoffs. It's time for that shoot to the World Series. It's going to be amazing. Both of our teams at this point are in the playoffs.
Yes.
By the time you're watching this,
we'll know.
Maybe neither are. But there's the World Series. There's football has come into its prime. We are watching college football. We're watching NFL, basketball, and hockey are beginning to crank up. Even MLS, I think, is still going on. I'm not an MLS guy, but I think that still happens out there. So there's all this sporting activity, especially on TV. MLS, Major League Soccer.
Soccer, Sean.
Soccer. Oh, that's football.
Get out of
European
here.
football.
Some places, yes, it is.
Sorry, I got confused.
Because you're so European.
I forgot that we're not supposed to speak in a tongue without a translator. We need someone here for Scott.
For interpretation. Spencer, will you please help me?
Yes, I
whenever
will.
say
I
something
will.
that's not understood. My question, there's two parts of it. One of it has to do with actually participating in sports, but I think that's the lesser question here. The greater question here is watching sports. I grew up enjoying sports. I enjoyed watching sports on TV. I recognized a passion for particular teams. I would journey with these teams. In fact, it would become a bit consuming to watch my team do well, and very disheartening when they did poorly. And I reached a point in adulthood where I recognized that my emotions were too much affected by the outcome of these sports games. And so I felt like I needed to detach myself from some of the passion and actually kind of left it for a while. I've since come back to enjoying what it is to watch your team do well. And I'm just curious what your thoughts are about how one should think about the proper place for sports. I think there is an aspect that we could say is a good gift from God, to see the prowess of human achievement and physical accomplishments that are really quite extraordinary. Hitting a fastball, throwing a perfect spiral, and catching a wide receiver on a sprint to the end zone, being able to sink a three-point shot. All these things are fascinating to watch. We're watching athletes that are doing things at unprecedented levels. But where does it go too far? And where have we gone off the deep end with our passion for sports, in particular as a spectator? And Spencer, since you have something to say on this topic, can we start with you while our brothers formulate?
I grew up in a house. That likes that we were watching sports. My dad and my brother particularly were big Cincinnati sports fans, and so I'm a Cincinnati sports fan. But I was always the nerdier one of the crew, but still appreciated sports. Big Cincinnati Reds fan. And honestly, as I've gotten older, I've appreciated them more because they have a lot of nostalgia built into them for me. And I think that's a lot of people. A lot of people root for their hometown teams because when I watch the Bengals, when I watch the Reds, I actually almost activate all these memories that I have in those stadiums and with my dad and with my brother. And me and my brother talk about it throughout the seasons. And so there's something, I think, really relational that goes on in sports, especially with historic teams that you have and good memories and things you're thankful for, and then you can relate with other people. I'll just say one thing. I did not pay any attention to SEC football until I came to Jacksonville because I didn't. In Ohio, everybody roots for Ohio State, but there's a lot of baseball, there's a lot of professional football fervor, but I didn't feel like there's much college. But on Saturday nights when SEC football is going on, I always check the Gators score before I come to church on Sunday because I will know what kind of mood people are in at church. So I think sports are good. I think they're important. So I think there's a lot of things happening in sports that we're not always aware of. I think that really captivate us. So I think there's a lot of inspiration in sports as we watch people endure hard trials, people who are courageous, people who exercise tons of discipline and self-control. And when we see those things at their peak, it's stunning to us to see what human beings are capable of. And so I think there's something really powerful and inspiring to us that we even identify with and get caught up in as we watch it. So I think they're really important. I actually think it can be very important to play sports. So I heard one pastor one time say that, a lot of the lessons that people used to teach their sons, they would learn by like going out to war and like learning how to hunt. And we don't really do that anymore. And so the closest thing we have to that is like
hunting's a sport.
It is, but not everybody does it. And so a lot of people now sign their kids up for sports because there's certain lessons of endurance, there's certain lessons of sacrifice, there's certain lessons of teamwork that the sports field becomes a laboratory for. So like when you want to lay down and cry because you failed, I can teach you a very important non-sports lesson for you, but I have a laboratory here to put you in that environment of pressure. All that being said, I think it's pretty hard to argue with that one of the greatest national religions in America is like football. I think I had an experience. I went to a Monday night football game of the Bengals versus the Jaguars last year, and it was really fun, and it was really otherworldly to me what people were doing. So like, honestly, to be really real, like the anger I saw in the stands was stunning to me. The drunkenness was wild. Honestly, the immodesty was really intense too. And I remember walking up.
But we're not talking about you. We're
no,
talking about
the other people. Yeah. I remember
never immodest
walking
because of his hair.
I remember walking up to the stadium, walking up to the Jaguar stadium. People are singing songs that they had written for the Jaguars. People are decked out in ridiculous outfits. And I was like, this is a worship service. This is a worship ceremony that everybody is united and caught up in together. And I think it's really important as pastors that we reckon with that a lot of people find more identity in their team than they do in the people of God, and feel more extreme emotion and excitement for their team than they do about like what's happening overseas right now in world missions. Will give more money to their sports team than they would to their local church. And I think anytime my emotions are more controlled by anything other than the cause of the kingdom, I have reason to pause. And so as a sports fan, I say all of that. Yeah. And so I have to check my own heart with my teams to be like, okay, look, if the Reds lose to the Dodgers, which is probably what's going to happen, like everything's going to be fine and Jesus will be alive. All of that's important. And so I think sports are important. I think it can be even a discipleship tool for parenting. But I think that it can become a very fast and powerful idol in American culture. And so I enjoy it. It's a great gift from the Lord, but I think caution needs to be exercised.
Yeah, that's well said.
Yeah.
And Heath, I chided you about your knowledge of sports, but that's actually not quite fair. You have a home full of sports fans, and so you have picked up some things along the way.
Yeah. So that is actually my my contribution to this conversation. I agree. Actually, I agree with everything Spencer said about the value of sports, and I agree with everything he said about, hey, we need to be careful that our love of sports doesn't get too big. That's true for anything that's not of ultimate importance. It's true for cake. It's true for,
It's so
I
true.
mean, you got to be careful. You got to keep everything.
It's not true for Lord of the Rings.
Oh my goodness
all right.
gracious. Okay.
I need to wrap around here on this topic.
Yes.
So
That's my sport.
There's an objective list of really important things, Jesus and family and those kinds of things, and we need to make sure that our lesser loves are underneath those things. But so I think the contribution I have to it, because I'm not a big sports fan, but sports for me is an opportunity to rejoice with those who rejoice. And that's what it is for me. So I grew up in Eastern Kentucky in the 80s and the 90s, and you cannot be a young boy in Eastern Kentucky and not root for the University of Kentucky Wildcats. I saw the heights of joy and the depths of despair in my family. When the Cats were winning, everything was great. When they were losing, it was horrible. And honestly, and probably the University of Kentucky Wildcats are probably the only sports team that I do have a sentimental attachment to them, just because
Like Spencer was talking about.
growing
yeah,
up.
they're just-
But I don't watch. Now I will watch if they start getting into the playoffs and we're getting close to the Final Four. I'll turn it on, and I'll pay attention. I'll look up the score. But most of the time I don't pay any attention. But there's just something in my heart about the Wildcats. And then I married a woman who is deeply committed to all Philadelphia sports teams. And so Eagles, Phillies, Sixers. And actually, I didn't think you could get more intense than she is, but we have a son who has really
Embraced it all.
taken it a step up. And so, honestly, I just love it. I love when they're happy. And I'm such a caricature of myself. If you come to our home on a day when the game is on, you will see everybody in my family paying attention and me in the room with them, happy to be there, but reading a novel or reading a theology
That's
book or
hilarious.
reading a biography.
So
and it's all like, look, when everybody starts screaming, I'll look up and be like, yeah, okay.
Go sports team. And then
That's right. Whoever. This is my favorite football game, Dad. This is baseball. Oh yes, good. But I love that they're happy. I love that they're enjoying it. When they're sad, I'm sorry. I've got sons that will just sit there and they talk to me, and I'm a receptacle for their information. But I can't contribute. But so I'm just like, now, how much money does he make? Oh, he signed this contract for and how long has he been playing? He's been playing 5 years. So I'm happy to be a part of their joy, but I can't contribute. It's not the thing that I love, but it gives me an opportunity to rejoice with those who rejoice, and
good.
sometimes weep with those who weep.
And listen, any amount of time watching your team, you're going to have
That's
some
right.
of both. Now, I chided you, Sean, and with good reason.
Yeah, it's totally accurate. Yeah.
Sean, do you know what sport the 76ers play? Do you know the sport
No,
they
hold
play?
on, I need a minute,
The
I need a minute.
76ers, the
76ers.
Philadelphia 76ers.
That's basketball.
good job.
Look at that.
I can't believe how long it took you.
I got it though. I got it.
You did get it after being on dial-up internet
Do another
speed.
one. Do another one. Yeah. So I love that everyone else loves sports, and
Does anybody in your home have any interest in a sport?
zero. Yeah,
Zero.
zero. Yeah.
Your dad? I thought your dad was a sports fan.
Hates them. Yeah.
Really? He
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
watch basketball?
My dad.
I wonder how I got
So
that
it's
in my
like a
head.
family heritage
in your honor.
to
Yeah.
not be
There's
into
no.
sports.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No. I really am thrilled for everybody. I did do some sports growing up.
You played a sport?
I played.
What did you play?
Yeah, see,
Play croquet.
You're part of this Tennessee high school croquet.
They were state runners up.
I founded it, Scott. So I did cross
Quidditch.
country.
You were Quidditch.
You did cross
You
country?
did cross
I did
country.
a 5-minute mile in cross country.
No, you didn't.
I did it, and then I stopped because I met my goal. Never ran since.
I know you never ran since. I am so good. If that gets edited out of this, we're all going to have to go find new jobs.
Running is different than jogging, Heath.
Well, for Pete's sake.
Yes, I did cross country, which is a biblical sport. You know, Paul, he ran the race. And let's see, I did
Thank you
paintball.
for elevating us to a higher plane.
Yes, thank you.
Now, here's the thing. I want a ruling here. He just said he did. Is paintball a sport? Or is that a game?
I played in tournaments on a team versus other teams.
But isn't it a game?
It's not a traditional sport.
What's the difference between a game and a sport?
Who gets to define traditional?
Isn't there a debate whether baseball is a sport or a game?
Oh, I don't think I would never say that's a debate. I think baseball is one of the most. It's America's pastime.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
it's like the sport for America.
But I thought the
You're
whole
over
debate
there-
was it's not that it's illegitimate. It's just that it's objectively not a sport. It's a game.
Oh no.
That's not true.
It's definitely a
So what about what
Well,
about
you're
paintball?
over there talking about war. I mean, paintball's as close as you get.
Right.
So I don't want to hear any flack over there from you, Harmon. I got a jersey and everything.
It's as
Who are
close
who
as
are
you get
who are
to
who are
war.
who are the Arizona Cardinals? What sport does the Arizona Cardinals play, Sean?
Baseball.
No, football.
Oh, crud.
I rest my case.
Derek Jeter was not on that team. But I also
Can you
did
tell us some facts about Derek Jeter?
best hockey player of all time. I also played soccer.
But
That's
do
a
you,
sport. That's a
Sean?
sport.
Let's ask this: do you think that sports are important?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
I don't think they're important for me.
No, but just
But-
in general, you think they're
Yeah.
a good thing?
Yeah, I think the Bible talks about athletic games, if you will, and so
Sports games.
Sports games. Yes. And so did you not know that not everyone who runs the race wins the prize, and so run that you may obtain it, and so I'm for that. Definitely for it. If it wasn't in the Bible, I might not be for it.
We appreciate your contribution to this conversation.
Yeah, I'm done. I got nothing. You know why I joined the soccer team?
Why?
When were you in the soccer team?
Ninth grade
Ninth grade.
at
I'd
my
like to see a team photo of that.
yes.
We need some proof.
Well,
and we want to know what happened
I
in
actually
10th
do
grade.
want to
Well,
see a photo.
Maybe we
I
can
wasn't
get
on
a
it
team
in 10th
photo
grade.
I
of
assume
Sean
that.
that we can post on the screen
Listen,
during
you don't need
the
any
After
proof.
Sunday
Here's
show.
why.
Can we get a
Can we
team
get a
photo
team
to put
photo
on
of
the
Sean's
screen
soccer
when they air
pictures?
this?
Yeah.
So I will tell you how I got on the team, and then you will believe me. So I did not try out for the team.
Yeah.
I did not initiate the team. My school was a small Christian school, and they needed one more player.
Yeah.
And so they came to me.
You were a rebound?
And they said, Sean, we need another male player. Can you be on the boys soccer team? And I said, only if you pay for everything.
No, you
course he
didn't.
I totally did.
He
I
probably
said,
got a stipend out of it.
yeah, so,
How much you offering?
so I didn't have to pay a
Pay
single
all my
dime.
supplies and give me $500,
So
and it's a
the
deal.
only sport that you played for your team, you were able to be on the team because you were simply a male.
That's exactly
Yes, free. Well, no, it cost them money, but for me, it was free.
Oh my! Who could be bought at a price?
A buyable man.
That's so funny.
I wasn't on the next year. They had enough people.
and they'd run out of money.
So that year, sports were very important to me, Spencer.
I will say that I have recently, I try to read like 1 or 2 sports books every year, and they're fascinating, like autobiographies of sports, like athletes and teams and their seasons, and there are a ton of lessons that you learn from just paying attention to sports, and so I'm thankful for them.
And it is a bit of an inherited quality within a family.
It is.
There's an aspect, like you were talking about, where just the experience with your dad, that would be true for me as well,
Yeah.
with your children, with your wife. There's just something about it that just makes it
Oh yeah.
very special.
I had when I started my cancer treatments. There's a church member, and they said, "Have you ever been to a Jags game?" I said, "No, I haven't." And they said, "Well, when you survive cancer and you're all better and your immunity's back, I'm going to take you to a Jags game."
You definitely need your immunity for that, James.
Yes,
Yeah.
you will
Oh, I
need your
do?
immunity
Okay.
built up for that.
I've never been, but I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait. I've
Have
never
a
been.
great time.
It's going to be a blast.
Let me tell you what. When you go to the Jags game, eat before you go.
Oh, really?
I took my crew there, and you think you're going to get like nuggets and chips, and you cannot afford it.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, sports
It's
food prices are
outrageous.
crazy.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is chicken and fries. I forget what I forget what the number is. I'd be making it up, and I don't want to get in trouble. But it was like going to a steak dinner
Yeah.
to eat out of a basket.
Oh yeah, my brother and I,
Wow,
my crossed a bucket list item off and went to the Cincinnati Reds opening day this year, and we like ate at the stadium, and for the two of us to have lunch at the stadium, it was $100.
Unbelievable.
For
That's
two
what
people.
I'm talking about. You
Two
know
people.
me. I think people get offended
Burger
too
and
easily.
fries.
I make it a personal matter of personal conviction. I don't get offended easily. I was offended. I was like, how can you charge this
How
much
do you
money?
sleep at night?
It's unbelievable.
Quite well.
Quite well.
Well, okay, we've covered the bases. We've talked about the Lord of the Rings. We've talked about death. We've talked about Myers-Briggs. We've talked about nachos at a sporting event, and we've talked about how we process sports. So I don't know what we could possibly squeeze in that we haven't talked about. But this just another day in the life of the After Sunday show. We're really, really happy that you are joining us for this this episode. And I can only hope, that sometime between when I'm saying this and you're watching it, we were able to dig up a picture of Sean in the paid-for soccer uniform.
Yes, we need
and
to
that
find
you were
it.
able to see
We
it.
need to find it.
See you next time.